Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope this message finds you well wherever you are in the world. I would like to share with you just some reactions and thoughts that I have with respect to a bit of Criterion-related news that emerged earlier today, my time, and today happens to be Friday, February 14th, 2020. Now, earlier today, I heard the news that Criterion plans to release the films Parasite and Memories of Murder sometime in the year 2020. I'm not sure exactly when in 2020, but I do know that based off of this news, which seems to be very reliable, Criterion will be releasing Parasite and Memories of Murder later this year. So, if we take that to be true, and I do think it is true, then this is incredible news, wonderful news for a number of reasons, I think. And I think we should all be very excited about this. So, it seems to me that this is a really opportune release for Criterion. And the fact that, of course, with the very recent developments and successes, award successes that Bong Joon-ho and Parasite has gained from the Academy Awards that just happened a few days ago. This is really timely news, and this is one that could potentially be a sign of a very popular release from the Criterion collection. A very popular one indeed, at least potentially so anyway. It's really wonderful news. You know, there is some crossover between the Criterion collection releases on the one hand and the Academy Award winners on the other. Now, I'm not an Academy Award historian necessarily, but I do know that, let's say, in considering the wide span of Academy Award winners and the history of that, for instance, in the Criterion collection, I think we have Academy Award winners for Best Picture from years past, such as It Happened One Night, and Hamlet, I think, and All About Eve, and Rebecca, and if we go maybe a little bit later down the line, films like The Last Emperor, Midnight Cowboy, I think Tom Jones as well, and The Silence of the Lambs, etc. And then when we get into the 21st century, I think we have a lot of films in the Criterion collection that at least were nominated. I say at least, it's still a great honor and it's a great thing, a great accolade to get a nomination, of course. Films like, I think, Traffic and The Tree of Life, I think, was nominated in that year. Also films like Boyhood and films like The Grand Budapest Hotel, which will be released later this year, I think. Also The Irishman and Marriage Story, I think, which will be released later this year. And so I think this is a very, and I'm sure there are others, of course, but Parasite is an interesting, it's an interesting development because it's an actual Academy Award winner for Best Picture, and it's going to be released by the Criterion Collection. So there is some nice crossover there. And hopefully this will mean that Criterion can still be able to take advantage of the Oscar afterglow, if you will, that the film hopefully will still have at the time that Criterion plans to release the film. I don't think that there will be any worries as far as being able to sell the film or to get it off the shelves, as it were, at Barnes and Nobles and at other places. I think, on the contrary, I think it'll be a really potentially exciting bestseller from Criterion. So fingers crossed on that. So this is a very exciting thing, very, very exciting to see this crossover, and hopefully this might generate more interest in the film Parasite. Hopefully it might generate more interest in the Criterion Collection, and hopefully everyone will be happy in terms of sales, in terms of exposure, and in terms of learning more about this really fascinating film. At least that's as far as Parasite is concerned. Then this is also, of course, a really great opportunity to have more films by this filmmaker, Bong Joon-ho, because, of course, now he's getting a lot of exposure, and he's getting a lot of attention, very justifiably so, of course. But his body of work is really one of the most fascinating bodies of works of a modern day filmmaker that I have encountered. And so it's great to see that his films, Parasite, and his earlier work, Memories of Murder, which is an electrifying work. I'm glad to see these two films coming into the Criterion Collection, because in many ways I think they are they have certain links to them, and also they also are really great representations of, I think, the way in which Bong's vision is so malleable and so flexible and so broad in scope. And it's very enthralling and exciting, and it's living. It's a sort of a living vision that he has, which is always ever evolving and surprising and enthralling. So it's great to see these two examples of his films, of his directorial efforts, come into the Criterion Collection in this way. So it's wonderful. So it's like we have, I think, the film of the moment, which is Parasite, but we have an earlier film that is in many ways such an important work in his career, and also in many ways it could be seen to be it's well, not in many ways, it is a film that is a masterwork in every sense of that term. And so maybe for people who are coming into this, coming into the Criterion Collection for Parasite, they'll also see Memories of Murder, and maybe that might lead into more discovery with respect to Bong's work and the like. And so that's a very exciting situation. Possibilities are endless, and so that is really exciting indeed. Very, very exciting. And I should also say that I've mentioned this before, but let me mention it again now in this context. You know, one of the things about the Criterion Collection is that it's a really great collection, and it has a really great collection of films. I'm talking about the physical media catalog. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of the Criterion Collection. Really, really big fan. I'm so loyal to the Criterion Collection in many ways. But I do recognize that it is an imperfect collection, and it does have a number of flaws, a number of pretty significant flaws at that. I think one of those significant flaws is its lack, relatively speaking, of films from South Korea in its current physical media collection. At the moment, there are only, as far as I understand, there are only 2 films in the current DVD, Blu-ray, physical media catalog in the Criterion Collection. That's it. There's 2 films. And it's Secret Sunshine, Lee Chang-dong, and The Housemaid, which is by Kim Ki-young. And I mean, those two films are magnificent in their own special ways, of course, but they are so magnificent. If you haven't seen either of those films yet, I strongly recommend that you check both of those out. So Secret Sunshine and The Housemaid. But those are it. Those are the only two South Korean films in the collection, out of a collection of what is now over 1,000 spine numbers, my friends. And so this is a little bit curious, of course, especially considering the how should I put it, the excitement that is being generated by South Korean cinema over the course of the past several decades, in fact. And so this is somewhat of a flaw, I think. And so this news about Bong's works, two of his films getting releases in 2020, I think it's really wonderful because it is helping to make inroads into resolving this particular issue of the Criterion collection. Of course, it's not the be-all, end-all, and it's not the ultimate way to remedy this particular issue, this sort of underrepresentation of South Korean cinema in the Criterion collection. But it's a good start, and it's a wonderful start, in fact. Bong Joon-ho is of course a friend to the Criterion collection. I think he has his own Criterion Closet video. He's also appeared on the supplements for some of the releases, and so he is a face and a figure that is recognizable already in the world of Criterion supplements and the like. And so, of course, to have his works here as representations of great examples of South Korean cinema, I think is just a really beautiful thing, and it's really quite beautiful, and it's helping to further round out the representation of South Korean cinema in the Criterion collection. Again, should there be more? Of course. I think there should be much more, and hopefully this will lead the way to potentially more films from these filmmakers and other filmmakers from South Korea entering the Criterion collection, thus giving those films hopefully more exposure, more light, if you will, at least in the Criterion collection film fan crowd, as it were. So hopefully that will happen. And if so, then this news itself, which is really great, can also be seen, hopefully, as being an indication of things to come. And if that's the case, then I think we are in really good shape, my friends. I mean, we should also point out that this is a really great exposure to a particular or to a great filmmaker that is having a really wonderful moment right now. And so it'll be interesting also to see what kinds of supplements will be included with these particular releases. Will there be short films, early films by Bong Joon-ho that he made when he was a film student, or will there be other works that will be included? Will there be other sorts of interviews that will be included and the like? Will there be some overview of his career, which is an incredibly wild and unbelievably unpredictable career in terms of his content, which is brilliant, by the way. So that stuff is really quite exciting, and it hopefully will put a wonderful spotlight on the filmmaker, the man, and his career. It's really, really wonderful. I should make one point about Bong Joon-ho at this particular moment in time. He won the Academy Award for Best Director, and he won his film Parasite won Best Picture and Best International Feature, and he also won Best Original Screenplay along with Han Jin-won. And so this is all really very exciting, and it reminds me a lot of the moment in the 50s where the filmmaker Akira Kurosawa's film Rashomon was receiving a lot of critical attention at the time at the Venice Film Festival, and also a Special Academy Award at a time where, as far as I understand it, there was no, at the time, foreign film award or anything like that. And so this was, at the time, a very, very big deal. This is the first kind of exposure like this from the West that a film from Japan had been receiving. And so and I don't want to stress this too much, because, of course, we can argue quite reasonably that I think Kurosawa as an artist would still be the great artist that he is known for now, even without those accolades from Venice or from the Academy Awards at the time with respect to Rashomon. He still would be a great artist, but there is no doubting the fact that there was, I think, some resulting exposure that his films received that helped to fuel the popularity of his films among the film fans all over the world. And so there's no doubting that there is a sort of a cause and result type of thing with respect to that part of his own history. Well, I think a similar kind of thing can be said, at least hopefully, about Bong Joon-ho and his particular moment now. Of course, this hopefully means that more of his films will get a lot of exposure, and the films that he will make from here on out will also get a ton of exposure, and he will receive a lot of attention. His films will be seen and scrutinized and watched over and over and over again, and he will be recognized as the great artist that he truly is. And so I feel like there's a really nice parallel that's being made here. And so the fact that we are getting not one, but two films by Bong in the Criterion collection later this year, I think is sort of an indication towards a kind of approach, perhaps, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but maybe it's an indication that Criterion wants us to look at his works as a whole, or think about his filmography as an artist. Right, because he is not a what's the phrase? A one-hit wonder, and I don't think anyone ever claimed that he was. But you only need to see a film like Memories of Murder to realize that he is a one of the premier artists. And you see Memories of Murder and you see Parasite, and it's like mind blown numerous times, as it were. I mean, they are just powerful works of art in their own right. And so I like this idea of not one but two films. So it's almost like there is a sense of giving his work a kind of breadth and respect, and a sense of time and a sense of his filmography. It's not a complete filmography, mind you, but it's still a sense of a kind of attention given to his works, plural. And I really appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing how these releases will time with each other. Will they be at the same time, or will they be staggered a little bit? Only time will tell, of course. But in any event, this is very, very exciting news indeed for fans of Bong Joon-ho, for fans of South Korean cinema, for fans of the Criterion Collection, for fans of the Academy Awards, for fans of the Cannes Film Festival, for fans of the BAFTAs and other awards ceremonies, but also for fans of not just international cinema, but cinema in general. Because, if anything, this is yet another way in which Criterion helps to celebrate cinema. Criterion does a great job every time with every one of its releases, reminding all of us how much it is celebrating cinema, how much it is valuing each corner of cinema that it can. With the resources that it has available to it, and trying to show me, you, and every one of us who is a fan of the Criterion Collection just how beautiful cinema can be, and to think of these future releases these are yet more examples of the way in which Criterion is helping to celebrate the wonders of cinema. So I, for one, am looking forward to this very much. This is really wonderful. Parasite and Memories of Murder, really great. Memories of Murder is a little bit hard to get one's hands on, I understand, in North America at least. There is a great Japanese Blu-ray of this film, but this is really great news for people who are looking for this film and trying to find releases of this, because I think it's a little bit hard to get one's hands on without trying to get a used OOP release somewhere. So to get this news is really quite exciting, very, very exciting indeed. So Memories of Murder and Parasite coming to the Criterion Collection later this year, 2020. Cannot wait. It's shaping up to be a fantastic year for Criterion and for other labels and for physical media in general. I was talking with our dear friend Luke at Razorwire Reviews about this, because he was also very excited. And one of the things that came up in conversation is this idea of physical media and streaming services. And I have nothing against streaming, don't get me wrong, but I'm also very much a physical media guy. I love physical media. And there's always the risk that physical media could just go away. The floor could just fall out from under our feet at any time because of the change of the marketplace. I understand this, and it's just the nature of the developing market and supply and demand, of course. So I understand the possibility and the chances of this occurring at any time, basically. It could happen this year, it could happen next year, it could happen the year after that. Who knows? Who knows what the future will have in store for the future of DVDs and Blu-ray going forward? It might be a very limited future indeed. Who knows? But so far, the Criterion Collection and its announcements and all its recent news about potential releases for 2020, all signs point to the fact that, at least for now, my friends, physical media ain't going anywhere. And of course, we'll have to wait and see what will happen next year and the years to come. But at least for now, my friends, I think with this exciting news, I think it's safe to say that, at least as far as indications given to us by Criterion and other like-minded labels like Eureka or Arrow and the like, I think it's safe to say that, at least for now, physical media ain't going anywhere. And that is wonderful, wonderful news indeed. Once again, I respect streaming, and I have lots of love for our dear friends out there who are fans of streaming services. You know that I respect and I love each and every one of you for your dedication to cinema through streaming services. I have nothing against that, but there is something really magical about physical media still being out there, and so as long as that magic can last just a little bit more, then I'll be happy, and we'll live to sort of fight another day, as it were. And but in the meantime, let us enjoy our time with this, and enjoy this news, and enjoy cinema in the ways that we are comfortable. And so with that, my friends, I am very happy about this, and I wonder what you have to say about this as well. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. If you have a chance, please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. But other than that, my friends, I hope you are happy and healthy and well, and that you are watching a lot of great, great movies. And so until we meet again, my friends, thank you and cheers.